Most impressionable TED Talks start with a quote, so I'll start mine with one as well. Time is a tool you can put on the wall or wear it on your wrist. The past is far behind us. The future doesn't exist. If you don't know where this quote is from, it's okay, but if you do, congratulations, you're a nerd just like me. So, we are constantly pressured about time. Things like FOMO, or the fear of missing out, are born out of the sheer fact that we do not have enough time. How many times have you been to one of those time management conferences? Or raise your hand if somebody has shown you a video on how to manage your time. Exactly. We're wasting our time learning on how to manage time. What do you do in your free time? What is time? Time and then there's the time and then, okay, let's circle back. What do you do in your free time? This is a standard interview question often asked in language proficiency tests. You start to think of your hobbies, you know. I think a hobby that I share with around 50% of the world, do not quote me on this statistic, is photography. It started off from picking up my phone and taking pictures of random stuff, and then I got a camera, and then I started getting into film, and it was all really, really fun. I joined a club in my old school just for photography. But it was more of like a let's do photography projects kind of club and not let's learn how to do photography club. So we had to come up with a project, and the project that our team came up with was teaching elderly people how to take selfies. This project was like interacting with elderly people, finding out all of the hobbies and all of the passions and all the places they've been, and then helping them take one selfie that sort of encompassed everything that they are. And naturally, I had to find an elderly person, so I went to my grandma's neighbor, who was around 80-something, and I spent weeks with her, interacting with her, talking to her, going to her place. But as a 14, 15-year-old, I didn't really want to spend my time doing this. I mean, we had an age difference, and we didn't really get along, and also I found her a little bit scary. I mean, she had this understanding of the metaphysical and spiritual world, and she would talk about it a little bit too much, and she also had this different understanding of time. She told me, your body has its own internal clock, and that is how the time in general works. This idea for her was so radical that she told me that she got rid of all the clocks in her house and only functioned with her internal body time. She had to get them back, however, because the rest of the world did not function with her internal body time. And this little story of hers reminded me of something that a man that I find very wise said. My military preparation teacher said that at the ages of 14 to 20, sleeping is the biggest waste of time. Naturally, this is not the kind of idea I want to be preaching to an audience of mostly students, but we are talking about the relativity of time here. So, why did he say this? He said, you're wasting your time doing something that is not beneficial to you. And I started to think, I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna have enough time, and I suck at managing my own time, and there's not enough time, and there's way too much time, and whoa. We've all had a time crisis at least once, if not on a weekly basis. A time crisis is when you have steam coming out of your head thinking about time. There's no way to fight the elusive and ununderstandable, multifaceted concept of time. It bites you in the back one way or another, no matter what you do. But let's look at it from a different and backed by science perspective. There is no now as far as physics is concerned. Time and space are relative and are dependent on gravity and your speed. Einstein put it like this: for us physicists, the distinction between past, present, and future is only an illusion, however persistent. We humans tend to trust backed by science information and all the scientists way too much when it comes to making life-changing decisions about ourselves. So, according to this, our human understanding of time is completely irrelevant. To further state my case, I will give you an amazing example. getting back with your ex is totally cool because you were never together in the first place, you never really broke up, and you're technically not even getting back together because future doesn't really exist either. It doesn't make sense, right? Okay, science, whatever, boring, blah, blah. Let's look at it from another perspective. One of my grandma's friends, when I was like 10 or 11, taught me this trick. And for a solid year, I believed that it worked. She said, if you want to control time, you take your palm and you take your finger, and if you want to make time go fast, you go like this. And then if you want to make time go slow, you go like this. And so every time I had a boring class, I would sit and I would draw really, really fast circles in my hand just to make the class go by faster. Or if I was hanging out with my friends and I wanted to enjoy that whole meeting, I would just draw really slow circles in my hand so it didn't go dark and I didn't have to go home. But obviously, it's not how time works. The earth is spinning and time is changing and I can't control time with my hands. Time, whether metaphysically, physically, conceptually, in practice, scientifically, mathematically, and in all other ways, is impossible to fight and to stop. So, are we all going to keep having time crises? No. Going back to what my grandma's lovely neighbor said, your body time. Whenever I have a time crisis, I remember her words. My body, your body, and all of our bodies do whatever they need to do whenever they need to do it. So if you missed a deadline because you fell asleep, that is your body telling you to take a break and to relax. If you didn't go out on a Friday night because you're sick, that is your body stopping you from doing something reckless that might harm you in one way or another. For boarding school students like me, time seems like it's going by way too quick. That is our body pulling itself through the chaotic nature of what it is like to be in a boarding school. So, the next time you feel like you're having a time crisis and you're running out of time or you have too much time or time and time and time, don't worry, your body has got you handled and you will make it out alive.